So I watched Birdbox on Netflix. Reviews have either been scathing or positive for this film. Me personally, no, I didn't like this film. And I'm going to go through the points of which I did not like about this film. But before beginning, I think it's only fair to say what I did like. So first of all, the acting. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Sandra Bullock does her best with a fairly poorly written script. I like John Malkovich's character because he's simply an arsehole and he's willing to admit it.
Are you a simpleton?
2. The film has some pretty good cinematography when we are on the river scenes. However, most of the time the film looks like a TV film with cheap sets and poor lighting. Thirdly, okay, well, there is no third. This film has been inexplicably successful, in thanks to all the memes, which have truly made me laugh at times. All these goddamn memes. But enough meme talk. Let's talk about how bad this film is. Birdbox lacks all complete focus. Combining two timelines together, the film feels incredibly jarring for the viewer. We begin the film with Sandra Bullock with two kids who are simply named Boy and Girl, who are all about to begin a long journey to a safe haven. We then cut to 5 years earlier to show us how this apocalyptic world all came about. This basically sets up the rules of the film. The rules being, if you go outside and you look, the monsters will get you and you will immediately kill yourself. This is one credit I will give to the film, in that it keeps with this rule and never breaks it. We now spend the next hour and a half of the film cutting between all these idiots in the house and Sandra Bullock rowing her boat down the river with her two kids. Why the house scenes went on for so long, I do not know. And this is where the lack of focus in this film hurts it. We can't feel any emotional connection with these new characters because we know they're gonna die. So why should I care? The film's last half hour is then spent with Sandra Bullock now on her own with her two children. We realise she has called them boy and girl to not get any emotional attachment with them. I mean, that's pretty impressive not to get any emotional attachment to your two children, which you have raised for 5 freaking years. The film then ends with her apologising to her children and finally beginning to connect with them, but why should I care, as we have only spent limited time with these kids. No defining characteristics have ever been set up for the children, and until Boy says, no time has actually been spent showing an actual relationship or arc between these three characters. So when Sandra Bullock hugs her children and gives them names, no one cares because we've only known these characters for 15 damn minutes. The overall theme of this film seems to be motherhood, but we never see Sandra Bullock grow as a mother. We see her first of all pregnant and not seem to be bothered by it, and even considering adoption. Then we see her 5 years later being quite mean to her kids, but that could be seen as caring as she doesn't want them to die. Then all of a sudden she loves her kids deeply, and that's the arc. There's nothing actually shown on screen on why she's growing, but I would have expected that to happen during the 5-year time gap. This is one of the biggest letdowns of the film, that it has no focus. Jumping between two different timelines, we don't get a sense of what the actual story is. It's not set like a first, second and third act. It's quite clear the filmmakers didn't quite know what film to make, and when John Malkovich was signed on, they had no idea how to use him as an actor, so they just decided to make a Dawn of the Dead survival film, and The Happening. So I have no idea why they did this, and the focus is completely gone, and the character arc we experience at the end of this film means absolutely nothing. Okay, so in this film, most of the characters are idiots. Well, not all of them, but most. Except my main man, John Malkovich.
Are you a simpleton?
First of all, why did Girl Cop and Machine Gun Kelly... Oh yeah, who is Machine Gun Kelly? Like, seriously, who is he? I've never heard of him. I mean, my girlfriend said, hey, that's Machine Gun Kelly, isn't it? And I was like, yep, crazy, huh? Can you leave a comment, who is this guy? Because I really want to know, and everyone's going mad that Machine Gun Kelly was in this film. Anyways, Girl Cop and Tulsim Shady decide that, hey, let's take the food and steal the car. Why did they do this? I agree you are probably not in the best frame of mind with some of the crazy stuff going on out there. I mean, demons are taking over your body and people committing suicide in the streets. But why would you decide to steal a car which has already been established you can't drive particularly well due to you cannot freaking see? Where are they planning to go? What kind of life are they going to start? Are they going to live in Atlantis? What is their damn plan? What annoys me is, why are these characters even there? Why is there a need for them? They added nothing to the story, they haven't affected our lead in any way, inexplicably, just decide to leave the film. I mean, I would leave this film in fairness. You then have the old lady character, and okay, she's not an idiot, but that's because she's just hanging around in the background. I mean, why is she even there? She adds nothing to the story and hasn't even done anything directly with our main character in Sandra Bullock. To me, it just seems like she wandered onto set one day and the crew didn't have the heart to tell her. They just kind of kept on rolling, so why not? You then have Olympia, who is the biggest idiot in the world. My god, this woman is annoying. Thank god she realised she was annoying as hell and decided to look at the demons and get the hell out of this film. I mean, Olympia is so poorly written and just simply serves to annoy Sandra Bullock.
Shut up, Olympia!
She has no arc whatsoever, and again does not change our main character in any way. You then have the man in the suit, who has seen the monsters, and he loves them, and acts like a soldier for the demons to get remaining survivors. He decides to draw the monsters as he loves them so much, which was laughable for me. The film should have never shown the monsters. They merely become less scary when you realise what they actually look like. Until this point, the thought of these demons generally unsettled me. What could be so horrifying that I need to take my own life? Now I know they look like the Cthulhu that's shown at the start of Rick and Morty, and that unsettledness goes away. The film quite clearly realised it had too many characters, which served zero purpose and made them behave like idiots just to get them out of the plot. Personally, this is how the film should have went down. Girl Cop and Tall Slim Shady somehow look outside, perhaps on a supply round. One of them takes their own life whilst the other decides, hey, I love these monsters. On their way back, they then plan to get the remaining survivors. Sneaky, I know. They begin exposing the characters to demons one by one, before Olympia, yes Olympia, sacrifices herself to save an in-labour Sandra Bullock, showing she has become a braver character, and gives Sandra Bullock a reason to like Olympia. And then this line actually makes sense.
Your name is Olympia. Yeah. Named after the sweetest girl I ever met.
But I'm just a nerd of a computer, I'm no screenwriter. What the hell happened in 5 years? I mean, Sandra Bullock and Man from Moonlight have managed to spend 5 years on the run from demons and the demon worshippers, and they appear in pretty good stead. I mean, how the hell did that happen? I mean, not having use of your eyes must have been goddamn difficult. In 1 week out of 10 survivors, you lost 8 of them. How did you manage to raise 2 newborn children? How did you get food? I mean, we're shown hints of everyone learning how to function without the use of their eyes, but this is never truly explored. The far more interesting story would have been this. How has this world changed them? How did they survive? And how did they avoid the demon worshippers until now? The story of Birdbox should have been a story of motherhood between Sandra Bullock and her children, navigating the woods to this apparent safe haven. Perhaps she meets her boyfriend along the way, who ultimately sacrifices himself for Sandra Bullock and her children, after they've given them a renewed sense of hope after Bullock had lost all hope and was starting to be quite mean to her children. But instead, I didn't care about his sacrifice, as I knew he was going to die because he wasn't there at the beginning of the damn film. I did find though his speech about hope and arguing Sandra Bullock was quite a good part of the film, and it made me feel something, but it felt like a completely entirely different film to what I'd been watching. And I'm sitting there wondering again, why do I even care? I spent the last hour of this film watching John Malkovich be an arsehole.
Making the end of the world great again!
Okay, I enjoyed that, but you understand my point. This feels like 2 completely different films smashed together, a 5-year time jump, and I have more questions than anything else. I know not everything needs to be explained, but you shouldn't spend such an elongated amount of time on backstory to just abandon it for the last 30 minutes of the film. We've learnt nothing from the scenes in the house, except a few of the rules of this universe, which, okay, that needs to be set up, and I thought the start of this film was then going to jump to the 5 years later. That would have worked for me. I understand that she's become quite hardened by this world, and Sandra Bullock has begun to become very horrible to her children, like I mentioned before, and this is the perfect point for her to meet a survivor along the way, who then gives her that renewed sense of hope and makes her try to carry on living for her children and herself. Birdbox is not an awful film, but it is a bad film. I feel like it's a B-movie version of A Quiet Place, and it's like The Happening, but less stupid. I think, to be honest, the film could have benefited that instead of committing suicide, you just die from seeing these monsters. Like, they literally just fry your brain because you just can't handle seeing these incredible demons. The death scenes are shot far better when compared to The Happening, which were just comical. At least we can see some emotion being shown in the characters when they do take their own life, but it still felt a bit silly, and I'm surprised the filmmakers went this route, especially after how The Happening was received. I've never read the damn book, and I'm sure people will tell me, well, in the book they commit suicide. Doesn't matter, you can change that aspect. I don't think there's a whole load of fans about Birdbox who would have cared about this film changing. But overall, I think some major changes need to be made to this film. Perhaps the filmmakers weren't confident in the kids acting, so decided to get some bigger actors like John Malkovich to carry this film. But the scenes in the earlier timeline definitely feel like an entirely different film. It's incredibly jarring. I don't actually understand the structure of this film. It makes zero sense to me and was a letdown. But I am happy. At least we have the memes. All the beautiful memes. So there's my thoughts. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.
Are you a simpleton?